She looked at me and she said, "No, choppy, choppy, pee-pee." Hey ho, hey ho, hey ho. All right, look. I mean, this is all new adventure for us right now. I mean, the podcast is pretty new, but also the film location right now is new. We signed the papers, we crossed the T's, we dotted the I's, and we're official. We're in the kitchen of L'Équipe Entreprise, which is pretty cool. It's a soup kitchen in Dorval. We're going to give more information, and we're going to have the guy to bring it in and tell you all about it. Let's bring it in. Professional wrestler, SeXXXy Eddy. We're right here in the middle of all the action. So this is L'Équipe Entreprise in Dorval. And the boys, Johnny and James, are going to tell us a little bit what they do, a life in the day here at the L'Équipe Entreprise.
Hi, I'm James. I'm the participant coordinator here at L'Équipe Entreprise. We're a mental health reintegration center organization. And we also dabble in food security by making frozen meals for the West Island at-risk community.
My name's John. I'm the kitchen manager here at L'Équipe Entreprise. I oversee the production of the items from day to day, help the participants in the program grow, so hopefully they could integrate into the workforce. And that's pretty much what we do here. We try and help people as much as we can with the food production, and the meals go to people that really need it.
All right, we're back. James, thanks a lot. That was the rundown. We wanted him to talk about it because, to give all the little details and stuff like that, just so he can explain it properly to you guys and show you that we're doing a difference with the sauces, but they're helping us do the difference. And again, everyone's helping each other, which that's how the world works. That's how it works, Mr. Trump, okay?
You jerk.
You jerk.
Speaking of jerks.
The jerk store called. They want you back.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure. Yeah, so what are we doing today?
So we're going to be working on the jerk sauce. And again, one of the main ingredients is onions. Yeah, so we got two different type of onions, and we're going to be chopping these while talking about wrestling and just giving you the lowdown of what's going on. So again, we got our jump pile, our good pile. And again, let's start rocking and rolling.
Yeah. So how you been doing, Eddie?
It's been a rough week. 2 shows in the same week. I went to go watch shows and one wrestling show. Just like in Lethal Weapon, I'm getting too old for this. Yeah, so it's tough, but I think that's the only thing that keeps me young, doing stuff. If not, you're just gonna stay at home and watch TV and watch your gray hairs get longer.
True.
Yeah.
So,
man, this is different too. We're standing. I feel more official. I feel like I'm chopping stuff here with a knife. And I try not to lose a finger while we're talking to the cameras here and just having a great old time.
Yeah. So what were we talking about last time, Eddie? I think we talked about your early start in your career, right?
Yeah. And that was we're looking at 25 years ago, the things that we did. Then we get to maybe moving on to I finally got into the wrestling ring and stuff, right?
Yeah, we're talking about your first IWS show, if I believe. And your first time doing hardcore matches. Yeah.
So again, the like I said, when we were doing the bar shows, we didn't have a complete full training of wrestling yet. We were getting our licks in and learning the ropes. So we covered up what we didn't know, doing some hardcore stuff, doing stuff with weapons, because it made the most sense for us at that time, man. It was like. We found out, hey, we can take a beating with this. We don't need to know completely everything. And as we're going to learn more about wrestling, then we're going to put more in our matches. But that was our initiation. We always had a main event hardcore match. And then when IWS started, more and more people, the word got out. Again, we're doing shows in bars. The violence level is up. And even then, as we got into it, we started working with one of our sponsors, a porn company, Wild Rose Productions. I don't think they still exist. I don't know if they still exist, but you'll have to check that out on the internet. Look for Wild Rose. Don't do that at work because I don't know what's going to pop up. Some of these ladies are maybe not the same age as they were back then, so you might
the rose might have fallen off the bloom or whatever that.
Yeah. It might be a gilf site now. I don't know the evolution of the MILF is the gilf. So yeah. So we started working with them. So everything was more extreme. And we talked about the wrestling. We're talking about the performance. And we're talking about like swearing on the mics. Everything we could do, we took it up a notch because people could see the PG stuff on television, right? But when they go to the bar shows, they're like, man, this is over the edge, over the top. And some people, that's what they wanted to see. So we started adding a little bit more hardcore, like basically all the matches, we made it so that like, there's no disqualification. So we gave it that little edge so guys could use chairs if they wanted to, if we had extra tables and stuff. But again, the main event would most usually be like a death match. But we tried to, we told guys, man, you have carte blanche, you have the freedom to, if you want to use some weapons, cool. As long as it doesn't interfere with, let's say, another match with a stipulation. If you got a ladder match, coming up, you don't want to have a ladder in the match before. Like use different weapons or something like that. So, again, learning to do stuff, hardcore stuff, was it was something because there was no one really to teach us that in Canada. That's the thing. There was no places to learn, so we learned on the fly. And again, when you're younger, things you heal faster.
True.
I get out of bed now and it's everything sore.
Sore all over.
Yeah, and that's probably because of the stupid stuff that I did back then. Like how many balconies did I jump off of in different venues? It's hard to remember. It's hard to count. Probably because I landed on my head a few times, so that's why I don't remember them.
Commotions.
Yes, exactly. Concussions.
Sorry.
French. We can,
Commotion, concussion.
On peut parler en français aussi. Maybe we'll even do a whole show in French one time. Not today. I don't think I'm ready for that. But tout un épisode en français pour tous les francophones de Québec, Canada,
Au Québec, c'est...
qui parlent en français, un peu de English in it. We will put it all together in the melting pot, and it's going to be beautiful. So, it's beautiful.
It's going to be bananas.
Yeah. Merci, Uncle Tom. Merci.
So yeah, but back Montreal scene, you were saying like you didn't know how to process the wrestling part when it came to hardcore.
Yeah.
Was there any other federation that did hardcore style the way that you guys did?
I'd say also there was I think I didn't get to see some of the shows, but like ICW was another one that was putting some elements of that, and they might have been doing it before us, but then I think they did a little more when they heard the popularity that we were getting, so they put it more. Like they did matches with barbed wire and stuff too, but again, you're in a church basement, you're not serving alcohol, there's kids, so there's certain things you want to do and certain things you don't want to do, and you got to know to read your demographic. Should kids see blood at a certain age? I don't know what the limit is. I'm not a parent. As a parent, what do you think? When would you bring Alice to her first like hardcore match type thing?
Well, I think it depends on the parents and the kid, but if you're looking back at the beginning of 2000s, I think it was more accessible for kids too, and maybe more tolerated.
Okay.
Now I don't think that I would. My kid's 13 right now. I don't think it's appropriate.
Yeah.
But I've seen plenty of kids. Let's say at IWS, there's NOW that does these hardcore things, and I did see some kids there.
And that's cool. That's cool.
Exactly.
As long as the parents can explain some of the stuff. You don't do this with your brothers and sisters. Don't do this in school.
Yeah.
And I used to think that it was because of me dislocating my brother's shoulder twice that they put that warning on. Do not try this at home. I'm like, man, maybe it's the hospital calling wrestling because they said those kids were wrestling again and he hurt his brother. So I don't know, but again, things change. Wrestling evolves. The world evolves. So, I don't have kids, but the thing is, some of the stuff that I did, I probably would be scared to bring kids. But then some of it, I guess to each their own.
Exactly.
But that's why you're not in a church basement. We're in a bar. So we're doing stuff that we knew we can get away with.
Yeah, kids were cool there in the bar anyway. So.
Yeah, they don't mind if, with the coolest part too, like nowadays, I think you bump into someone on the bus, you spill their coffee or something like that, and they're going to get upset. But at IWS, guys would flip over the top rope, hit the fifth row of the crowd, spill people's beer. We're on the ground kind of like, oh, sorry, dude. And they're like, yeah, IWS. So it was a cool thing where they didn't mind, like they're part of the show now. They're on the film, and that's in the days when we were selling DVDs also. Fans would buy more DVDs because they're like, dude, that's the part where he fell on top of me and my girlfriend. And well, she wasn't my girlfriend at the time, but after that, spilled the beer all over. She came to my house, took a shower, we had sex. Thank you, IWS, for helping me lose my virginity. So you never know what could happen in the wonderful, wacky world of professional wrestling.
Yeah, was there any time did the police come? Is there anything legally like back in these days with that type of bar wrestling thing? Like, did it ever go astray?
I think a few times I believe there was one time, a few times I think cops would come and be like, hey, there's like a ruckus kind of going on, or people would call the police too, because they'd be like, these guys are hitting, they're not doing what wrestling should be, kind of in someone's head. Wrestling's what they saw on TV. So when we were going maybe a little too far, breaking a beer bottle, and then, you're carving someone's head or whatever, some people, I think they panicked and they didn't know what the part of the show and where it's going too far. So we've had cops, and I guess they do the routine checks in bars. They'd come in, and then once they see it's professional wrestling, okay, they stand and watch a little bit, get a couple laughs, and then they would go from there. I think we've had, if it's more calls from the police, it'll be because fans were fighting. Fans got a little too drunk, too crazy. Some of them even I got some footage on YouTube too of fans going overboard, and again, some wrestlers are jumping in the ring, and some wrestlers do what they got to do to make the show go on. But then after that, a friend of that guy that gets beat up in the ring calls the cops. Cops come, and they got to do they got to do the investigation because they got a call.
Yep.
So, but it's always ended up good. I mean, if not, we wouldn't be running anymore.
True. And I know we hovered over the subject of the whole porn site thing.
Yeah, we can talk more. I'd love to elaborate on porn.
Exactly.
Even then, we were shooting promos sometimes, and they'd be like, "Okay, we're going to shoot a promo at the film studio," and so some of the guys were like, let's say they just turned 18, 19 and stuff, and then they're like going to film or they're ring boys and stuff, and they're going to film at a porn studio. And it's like, so you're sitting on a couch, and then it's like, wait, there's a bump or something. They pull out this dildo that's stuck, it's like as if it fell out of your pocket. You might lose some change, but here people would lose a dildo in a couch. So we're filming there, and we're looking around. Once I see stuff other than wrestling related, I get ideas. So I'm seeing all these props. Okay, we're going to use this. We're going to use this. Or I'll open the fridge. I'll pretend I'm having sex with a girl. I'll do it while talking to my tag team partner or something like that. And it just gave us, I guess, more avenues. And instead of guys used to do promos, hey, I'm this wrestler standing behind this brick wall on this specific date. I'm going to be wrestling at this place, and I'm going to kick your butt. Boring, and that's a standard thing. Here it gave us some more props, some more backgrounds. I mean, just like this kitchen right now. I mean, you're not looking at the back of a wall. This is episode 3. We mean business. We're filming in a kitchen here, This is big time. So we said, hey, man, let's use this porn studio. Let's make some big time stuff. And so, we'd use props and things like that in there. And it just gave us, it opened up doors. And that's when we started actually filming Bloodstream, which was our regular segment on the internet, so that we didn't have a regular weekly program of wrestling like Raw and SmackDown have, so they can tell their stories and they keep going through months. You won't remember maybe in 2 months for the next show what happened in the last show. You'd see a recap. So Bloodstream would every week be some promos, be some storylines, so you can follow, you piece them all together, and it comes to the next show. It was more of a complete storytelling. Yeah. And without storytelling, people are just coming to shows, watching good guy against a bad guy. He wins, he loses. It's okay for one show, but when you're invested in something and you got stories where I got to see where this leads. I mean, this guy interfered and this guy came in and attacked him. You want to keep coming back. It's a male soap opera with chairs and tables. And that's what the IWS wanted to do, especially with the Bloodstream. I think it kept people's interest in it. And then they were talking on the chat boards, the message boards, before internet and all that. Well, there was still internet, but I mean, there was these chat message boards, and people would group up if they liked something in common. So they'd like IWS, violence, sex, alcohol, and they'd be talking about all these subjects. Oh, who's going to fight the next show? This and that. And that was our means of I guess, keeping the storylines going and stuff.
And-
So that was it. We had great stories too that were building up. Extra violence, and this was the only place in a bar setting with alcohol to see all this stuff. So I think that made it unique. So that the other places that were doing shows in church basements, I mean, they're doing shows, but if you got 10 of them in different church basements, they're very similar. If you got one show once a month or once every 2 months in a bar, you're like, this is going to be the night. Me and my friends, we're going to go crazy. We're going to yell. We're going to drink. And there's going to be fighting. It's going to be exciting. So we had some big crowds, and we were starting out hot too. One of our first big shows was at a club, Medley, which doesn't exist anymore. And I got to say, IWS, we've probably done over 12 bars. I'm going to try and name some of them. And I don't know if I'll see if I can remember all of them, but we started out at Wally's Pub was when we started, which that has changed to like Club Element, Club something else. I don't even know if it still exists or what it is now. It might be just an alley where homeless people go and throw up and have sex. I don't know. But just like my wrestling career didn't go very far, so did the bar, maybe Wally's Pub.
Yeah.
We went to the Medley was a big one. That was the Scratch in Laval. That became our homestay. I'll give you a little story on each place. The Medley was the first place where we had a live party going downstairs, and we had a live party upstairs. So down in the ring was hosted by Mike Patterson, which is a world-renowned comedian. And so I guess he was getting started too, and he's like, I'm going to go and announce with these wrestling schmucks. His brother was also wrestling with us. So that was another plus. And then while that show was happening, they would cut to the upstairs, where a pretty famous musician, Freddie James, from the Freddie James Project, he was the comedian and the host in the upstairs party. Now, the upstairs had sometimes some wrestlers before they were going to go out, but there was also, I only found out about this afterwards, there was a porn party going on, and there was signups.
Oh my!
There was like people that wanted to do, and I only found this out afterwards. And so he was hosting upstairs. So they would cut upstairs, backstairs while they're fixing up the ring, while they're getting weapons in, and they would cut. And when I saw the finished product after, I was like, what are we getting into? Like, are we going to get in trouble? Are we going to get closed down by the cops? So that was the Medley. Then the Scratch in Laval, one of my favorite shows. I remember my first match there. I was wrestling Novocaine, and he gave me a move. It was called the Nova Driver, he was calling it, which was basically what Rikishi would use, almost like a pile driver. But he was standing on a table, put me through the table, and they even had me winning that match, and I said, no, I'm already established. Like with that move, I don't want to kick out. I wanted that as the finish, and I was like, who cares, win or lose? Like no one will expect this guy to win, since I think it was his first time with IWS. So sometimes you need a little surprises like that, because if you know all the outcomes of the matches, it's boring. But so the Scratch in Laval, that was our mainstay for a long time, and I loved that place. Backstage was great. There was a lot of great moments had there. We did have to move. I think it was management, this and that. So that was in the Scratch in Laval. Then we moved. Again, I'm not going to know the chronological order, but I'll name some bars. We were at a bar, Unison.
Yeah,
that was another one. That one had a giant backstage. Some nice like wall paintings. I did my first photo shoot. My dad took some pictures of me with one of the belts and stuff like that. I know it's a little weird. Your dad's taking pictures of you in your underwear, but when you're an adult, I mean, it is weird. But I needed promo pictures because that was just before we were starting to go in the States and stuff. But that was a fun place too. But I think it was further for some people to get to. So at every show, you got wrestling fans that some of them will travel wherever you guys go. Other ones will stay more in their territory. The fans will be like, hey, this is a little too far, or the show finished at midnight. I got to get home by a certain time. But we had largely our same fan base, and you might see them at other wrestling shows, but some of them just want to see IWS. Some people are just Battle War. Some people are just main event wrestling.
Yep.
And that's cool because you got too many storylines. You're like, wait a minute, this guy's a good guy there. He's a bad guy there. It does get confusing. I just want to wrestle. I just want to make some money. I just want to drink some beer. I just want to have some fun. So I'm wrestling wherever, especially when you're young, wherever you can get to, whatever you can do, the more wrestling you do, the more you'll learn. So that bar, Unison, we did there for a bit. We were still working with Wild Rose throughout this time. Funny stories too. Some of the girls wanted to have parts in the wrestling, but they didn't. Well, they didn't know. Yeah, my parts, but they didn't know what. So, like, example, I'm telling the girl saying, like, okay, so after I do the frog splash off the top rope, I need you to come in and pull his leg and break the referee's count. And they're like, there's a referee. I don't know what that means. I don't know what this is. And so, listen, honey, listen, toots. When I say, hey, come in the ring right now, that's your cue. Easy enough, right? And so then she'd come in and she'd tell me like stuff like, well, when's the part where I show my tits? And I'm like, no, you're not. You're going to try to. And the bad guy blocks the shirt, but I'm not showing my tits. And I'm like, no, it's storytelling. It doesn't all end in a facial. It's storytelling, okay? Very important. True. So that was fun adventures. I was remember talking to one girl one time, and then I don't know how, but she was sitting on the sink, and I think I was washing my hands around her. I don't know how I got there. My buddy came in, and he's like, Eddie, what are you doing? I was I had a couple cocktails, so I'm gonna have to leave. Anyways, he put me back on the right track. But that's one of my fun stories. Is her name Diamond Pierce or something? I can't remember her name.
What was pierced about Diamond?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything. But yeah.
The moral of the story is you need your hands to be washed properly.
Yes. Yeah. That's why we're in the cooking business right now. But that's my fun story of that was Unison. Yeah. Great. They had great counters. Perfect level to wash your hands.
Exactly.
Right? To wash your hands. Yeah, we did the break. The break. It was a pool bar. That was another place on Crémazie Street.
Oh,
the break. The problem here, there ended up being two other wrestling companies that ended up doing shows there at the same time as we were on different weekends, and I was working for all of them. Which, again, like I said, I'm making money. I'm learning. I'm learning the ropes. The more you wrestle, the more you learn. You more you learn what to do, the more you learn what not to do. So that's the thing. There was too many companies wrestling there, and they were going through some renovations at some times. And like the last show we had there was like concrete floor. Everything looked empty, but they had already set the date and stuff like that. But and I guess the bar just wanted money, and they're like, "Hey, wrestling's making us some money," because not a lot of people would go there regularly because it looked like a dump. But again, you know what? It's your home. When you're wrestling there regularly, it's your home. So. But it was a dump.
It's a dump, but it was your dump.
It was my dump, yeah. And close by to that, there was another place. That was the break, and then there was another place that was not too far there. We did a few shows. I can't remember the name, but I remember doing a suicide dive, and Frankie the mobster caught me, but I went so far and on him, and my head made a hole in the wall outside the ring. And I think I said the break. I was like, we did maybe a couple shows there, and I don't know if my head making a hole in the wall was one of the reasons they said, yeah, no more wrestling here. But I think it was also on Crémazie Street. Yeah. Other places too, man. We got to do some great festivals. Festival wrestling is some of the funnest stuff because you get to start over. You got a lot of new people that don't know wrestling. They're going from one stage or the other to like Parc Jean Drapeau, like at Heavy MTL or at Rockfest or whatever the festival is like. They're going from one stage to the other. So our job was when stage A is done, that's when we do the wrestling until stage B is going on. And then once stage B is done, we got to be done. So sometimes you have to shorten your matches and just go home, go right to the meat and potatoes, right? So the festivals were great. And like I said, you have to start over because people don't know who's good, who's bad. Some of them are just there for rock shows and stuff. But then once they'd hear the ring noise and they'd hear the bumps and they'd see these colorful costumes and guys jumping around, they kind of, hey, let me watch a little bit. We'll give it 2 minutes. Let's see what. And then they're like, they stay through the whole match and they're like, hey, that was great. The next one's back in another half an hour. Okay, and they were back, and we were building crowds. We did the Vans Warped Tour too, was fun. Which again, Side note, we would be doing with the interspecies wrestling, which I'm still tag team champ. I don't know when this will air, if I still will be, but we would be defending our belts at this year's Vans Warped Tour in Montreal. So I'm pumped. I'm excited. I get to show my nuts in front of new people, and we have a great time doing there. I walk around like I'm a VIP because when someone's in their underwear, they probably own the place, right? So I just go backstage. I go where I want to go. I'm in the kitchen. I'm stirring the sauce naked. You know what? That's the rules don't apply when I'm at the festivals.
True.
Right here though, gloves, mask, hairnet.
Yeah.
It's sanitation for the nation.
Exactly.
The nation of sanitation.
And in festival, have you met like any interesting bands, any interaction that were like fun to have? Since you're like Mr. VIP with your belt and underwear on.
Yeah. So here's the thing: when I'm wearing regular clothes, and I'm better now, but when I was wearing regular clothes, believe it or not, I was a shy person, and I didn't even know how to talk to girls. I was just like kind of But when I'm in my underwear, I was like, there's nothing to hide. What you see is what you're gonna get. Okay, honey. So I was like a little more macho, a little more, and I felt like, wow, I can say things, but it's okay because I'm in my underwear. So at these festivals, I'm walking around in my underwear. By the way, I'm getting the best tan, better than anyone out there. So I'm walking around. I'm watching some shows on the side of the stage. So I think they're coming back to play soon with Alexis on Fire. So
Yes.
I'm watching Billy Talent on the side of the stage. I got this belt, it was CZW, my first belt in the States. I'm all big time, and I'm standing there, my arms crossed, just nodding a little bit, watching. Once the band is done, the members are going off the side of the stage. I'm patting them all in the back. Last guy, the drummer, goes back. I go right behind him. People thought, man, this guy must be their security. So I go right to the back of the truck. There was a truck where they kind of chill, and then they go out. So I go with them, and I'm like, hey, great show, guys, this and that. And they see my belt, and they're like, hey, can we take a picture with you? And then I was like, well, I can take a picture with you. And it was like a fun moment where, like, you're kind of like, oh, this guy's a wrestler. Oh, these guys are in a band. And we're just both kind of turning to kids for a little bit, and we're just both having fun. So again, fun moments like that, you got to take advantage of.
True.
Too many times before I was in wrestling, I didn't take the chances that I should have, whether it be on a job, whether it be asking a girl out. You don't have maybe that confidence or things like that. Here, I was like, man, confidence and good positive energy goes a long way. And sometimes people tell you, fake it until you make it. And I've faked it a lot of times. My wife could tell you that. I'm like, oh yes, that was a great meal. What did you think I was talking about?
We'll edit it.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
no.
No edit.
We keep
raw
it.
dog that thing.
You said it. You said it.
Yeah, like the
Festivals are awesome.
Yeah.
All this to say, festivals are
Yeah.
awesome. You like whether you're at a EDM electronic festival where the girls are all on different kind of candies and colorful gear, having a good time, fake boobs. Whether you're at heavy MTL, piercings, tattoos, dressed in black, fake boobs, or whether you're at Osheaga, people are wearing like furry boots, glow sticks.
or Lasso Country Festival.
Lasso with the lasso, the cowboy hats, the jeans, the fake boobs.
I was gonna say fake teeth, but whatever.
Yeah. All these festivals are fun, and it's so cool because, like I said, you get to start over. Even just a simple body slam and a suplex, basic moves. They get the crowd going because they're just hearing the ring bang. So that's always a fun part for us. And you try to incorporate a little bit of that style of festival. Like, again, unless you want the people to not like you, at a rock festival, you come out to country music or a hip hop song, and that's easy heat. That's an easy way for them to boo, But when you come out to some of the bands that are playing on the show, you get to people are going to be into it. Even we had the lead singer of Slipknot. I think one time he came into Corey something. I can't remember his name. I think he did one of the interspecies wrestling out of Vans Warped Tour. He was around. He wanted to do something. So sometimes it mixes in. I did a show once where I was in the States for GCW too, and it was the singer of I'm Just a Teenage Dirtbag Baby, Wheatus. The lead singer for Wheatus was there, and he got into the Rumble and stuff. And I was just like, hey, this is a cool moment, like it's
Yeah, but that's the thing. You realize sometimes that maybe for you, you're seeing like someone you're starstruck, but they look at you the same way. Don't feel like the artists are also fans, like from the start of everything. So,
and I guess I've seen that later on where I kind of like, oh, okay, I didn't see it that way, but yeah, you for them, this is like, it brings them back to their childhood. And then, seeing grown men oiled up in their underwear, it's just like, man, makes me remember
their childhood.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good, eh?
No.
Remember when I was in that church school and the priest used to, no, never mind, we won't go there. No, let's just keep cutting some onions here.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't tear up yet. I cannot believe it. It's going great. Again, other venues, we've been everywhere. And it's, especially IWS, I feel, was able to, you take a bar, you do a couple shows, you make it your home for that moment. Yep. And hey, there's Baymaster. There's a great one. It was actually a swimming pool. And so the ring is inside the swimming pool. And the fans are all sitting around the outside. Again, it's a cool effect. Looks like a pit, looks like a fight club. And so any place, like I said, you make it your home, and then you look around, you're like, man, we could jump off this. There's a balcony here. We did the Corona. I jumped off the balcony there. Then it was Tellus. I jumped off the balcony there. Olympia. I jumped off the balcony there.
It's a recurring theme, huh?
They're like, usually Eddie's jumping off the balcony and Manny's taking the splash through a table. It's happened many times. I have deja vus of that sometimes in my sleep. I'm just flying in the air, landing on Manny. It's not good, Manny. I was just dreaming about you that way. I'm jumping on top of you. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. But it's okay. It's okay.
No judgment.
No judgment.
Not that it's a bad thing.
It's the wacky, crazy world of professional wrestling.
True.
So, yeah.
And if I remember right, IWS was at first not, like, what's the original name stood for?
Yeah, so the original name was the World Wrestling Syndicate. That's the original, because we thought you had to have world and wrestling, because WWE, WWF, they had that. So we thought that was necessary. We called it Syndicate, because that's a synonym for, like, federation or group. So we were like, and then that soon changed once we started doing promos, and we were using the internet for to push these promos, not just like, promos in the ring, but we were shooting some, taking days to shoot. So it became the IWS, the Internet Wrestling Syndicate. Again, so still the same letters as it is today, but IWS then changed when I did my first trip to Germany. I was maybe one of the first wrestlers to go overseas from the IWS. So after that, we already had Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn working with us. So Kevin Steen and El Generico, or his cousin that works at the orphanages and helps out there. So we had them at the IWS, and then we started traveling more to the States, and then so that the IWS became the International Wrestling Syndicate. You just go in one other country and you become international. But we'd already broken a few countries, been there, and then as we were getting known, and as we were getting known in the States, we're all breaking out at different levels, and so people are getting to go to different countries. And I think you could maybe argue with me and stuff, or someone could say, but at the time, I remember as it was going before signing with WWE, I think Sami Zayn was probably one that I know the most traveled different countries wrestler. There's been others in the States, Claudio Castagnoli and Mike Quackenbush, that they had gotten to a lot of different countries, especially teaching seminars, not just doing shows, but teaching seminars. But I think Sami Zayn was the first I need to wrestle in Peru or different countries that hadn't maybe seen professional wrestling. Maybe they weren't as interested in it. But then now, I think with TV, internet, and all this, more people have access to it, so they get it that this is the American or North American style of wrestling, and then you introduce that to Japan. They added more of that. They still kept their core Japanese pro wrestling style, strong style, but they've incorporated more shenanigans, more promos, more acting, and I think the same goes for British style of wrestling, where it would be more technical, more really groundwork, a lot of Olympic style jiu-jitsu put in there, and real submissions that it was really cool. You got the luchadors in Mexico that they're adding more entertainment too and stuff. So I think we all take from a little bit now that it's all accessible for everyone. We're taking a little bit from all around the world and making each federation its own uniqueness of having a melting pot of all these different styles of wrestling in one.
Yeah, because at that stage of your career, if I remember right, we're still in tape trading days. So having someone or something, a special moment, it had to go through tapes and exchange. And it's not as easy as today. Let's say you see like YouTubes of matches that happened yesterday, let's say.
Exactly. So, you click on YouTube and that's the thing. You put two names and you'll see stuff. People were tape trading to find out about different wrestlers, to find out about, like what's hot in wrestling and stuff like that. Now you just click on YouTube and you see, but you had to really love and have a passion for wrestling to go deep and find stuff. So it's cool. Like if I could book my perfect show, it'd have a little bit of every type of style in it and stuff. So that's really important because I like to please, not just think about one style of wrestling. I said this before and I'll keep saying it, that wrestling is like music where there's so many different styles. And again, classical is not for everybody. Punk rock is not for everybody. Heavy metal is not for everybody. But that's all the styles of wrestling there is with technical, high-flying, hardcore. It still is wrestling. We're all one family. But we just, have different backgrounds. And we like different things, which is totally cool. So, as you learn this and you get better, the more you travel, the more you pick up. And I mean, Japan was some of my favorite times on my trips there, of learning and of learning of not just wrestling, but of myself and of the country. It was great. So the more you do, the more you learn. Get out of your comfort zone. Try and wrestle everywhere, and try to open up horizons. Because every time you wrestle a new opponent, there's things that you can adjust in your style to go with their character. And again, that's putting in the little extra effort. A guy like Speedball Mike Bailey is a perfect example where if he's wrestling certain people, he'll do some homework and he'll actually tweak some of the moves and styles for reversals and everything like that, so that I think so that he makes it like nobody else can.
Style blends.
Yeah, they blend perfectly, and it's always exciting, which makes him always exciting. It's not the same stuff, and if it is certain similarities, but different structures, different cool things. The talent that's come out because of us breaking through the States, again, have reached WWE, AEW, TNA wrestling. It's really cool. Even thinking like my first time at IWS doing the main event, when I had a chance to wrestle against PCO, the Quebecois Frankenstein, Canadian Frankenstein, and wrestling him in an IWS ring. And I'm like, I watched him on TV as a kid, so now I'm getting in the ring with him. The main event, the pressure's on. We did some crazy stuff, and he still says I'm crazy. When we're in the middle of the ring, and we have a table set out on the outside, and he gives me a German suplex from the inside of the ring. So he's holding me from behind, an embassy on Eric, and then he launched me over the top rope. We're supposed to go through the table. Didn't quite happen. Past the table, and then hit the floor, broke a little bit of the table. But again, you're landing on your back. It was a little nuts. But back at the time, I said, yeah, we can do that. Again, it's moments like that you realize two things. Like, I wouldn't change anything that I've done. And the other thing you realize is that explains why I forget, why I fall asleep sometimes while in conversation, or why I forget my wife's name sometimes. It explains it all. So, wrestling. Oh, freaking wrestling.
Yeah, you talked about PCO. You talked about Frankie. Is there anyone from today's age that got started with the IWS scene? My guess is Phantom was one of the original ones.
Yeah, Phantom original one, and the other guys. People have popped in. We've had special guests, and the IWS has had the most guests that you could say from WWE, from WCW, from ECW, ever. I mean, just naming what I could think of. If we shoot them off, we got the Dudley Boys, Kevin Nash, Christian, and Sabu,
Sid.
Psycho Sid, man, right after his injury on the 5-year anniversary show. Like, it's crazy the talent that we've had, step in, and maybe because they hear also from other people, it's a pretty cool place to work with and stuff. And so again, every time one of these guys is in the ring on a show that I'm backstage at, this is like I'm living the dream. This is really cool. This is nostalgic. And again, some of them you meet. I've seen Jake the Snake at his lowest point. I've seen Jake the Snake at his highest point at a different show. So same thing. I've seen Raven worst point, and I've seen him at his much better place. So depending on depending on some, like they say, you don't want to meet all your heroes, but that's okay. I mean, I had fun with them, and
How do you guys handle like a star? Let's say, for example, Sid. Like you contact them, you say, okay, he's charging X amount. What's the process afterward backstage? Is it more of like a separate locker room, or
we asked them. They gave Rey Mysterio his own locker room because he had there's a couple of flights and layover and this and that, so he just wanted to get some rest and be more chill. So he had his own. But like funny story with Psycho Sid that. So again, he had some demands which were very strange. So this was his comeback after he infamously at WCW jumped off the second rope and giving a big boot to I can't even remember who it was to. I think either if it was one of the Steiners or it was to like Animal or Hawk or something. So it was somebody. He gave the big boot and his leg just spaghetti, disgusting. Again, that's W's that happened at WCW. So again, all the days, I think 500 something days after. IWS was his return match. So it was kind of like a tune-up. We had a tag team extravaganza with like maybe 10 tag teams, and that was a mystery tag team. So it was PCO with Sid. And Sid, so his demands were, I want to have a couple people with masks on in the ring, no shirts. I want to have some girls, they're going to hold up cards. I want to have a giant hourglass, a sand glass, to show that time is running out if you want to be on his team or not. And then the best part is he also demanded a small person. Now that I've wrestled for a long time, I know a lot more small people. Hash the one. I see you out there. But back then there wasn't that many, say, midgets. So he's like, I need a midget. And so we called up. There was one announcer in Shawinigan, FCL wrestling I'd done there too. By then I had done everywhere through Quebec, everywhere through Ontario, when I'd already went to the States. So contacted him, and again, he got there. Guy only speaks French, so but Sid only speaks English, and he speaks crazy too. So Sid is like spitting literally, he's this close to the midget's face, but he's on his knee. Also, Sid demanded to face paint the midget. So he demanded that he makes, and when he came out of the bathroom, it looked like a kid had painted this guy. So the midget, the small guy, doesn't speak a word of English, and he's got this giant, you see his traps and stuff like that, his shoulders, he's like, you're a good midget. You're a good clown. And I walked into the bathroom when he was saying that, because I just want to use the urinal. I'm like, sorry. He's like, he was focused on doing the paint facing I'm confused because I'm living the moment right now. He was just in the moment of doing that, putting the face paint on the small guy, and that small guy was terrified when I talked to him after. He's like, so in French, j'ai aucune idée qu'est-ce qu'il disait. I was just terrified, but I just let him do what he had to do. And so there was a list of demands, and I'm like, this guy was a professional for years. I've seen him on TV. So sometimes you meet people and they're exactly like you thought they would be. They're nicer. Sometimes they're crazier. So it's all, the adventures of the wacky world of professional wrestling.
On that note, in that fantastic story, I think we're running out of onions to chop. I think we're running out of time, and I think that's going to be a good end of the show. Is there anything else you'd like to add, Eddie?
Man, again, I want to thank the kitchen for having us, for dealing with us. It is a Sunday, and it's so we're all working. Everybody's working for the weekend. Working, not making money. Ain't that the truth? But we're doing it for a good cause. We're here at the kitchen again. All that info if we didn't already insert, I think we
It's
inserted
gonna
it.
be right at the bottom here.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't like, don't subscribe, but do send donations. There will be a link. I need you guys to give some. Everyone needs help in life. They do too.
Yeah, you got some extra money lying around. You go between your couch, you got some change. You don't know what to do with it. Hey, send it over here. The link below. You know, and again, you're helping a good cause. It's better to be on the good guys team than the bad. Well, it depends. You're a bad guy. You're a bad guy for life. So you know, you can still be a bad guy but still be a good dude. So you know, I think that's the message here. Bad guys, good dudes. Yeah.
That. Have a good one, kids.
C'est marqué stockage complet.
Depuis quand?
Je sais pas.
All good. You just
Like this one kept rolling, right? I'll stop it. Can I stop it?